So you need an ID to get an ID, and now you're wondering where to get an ID. Hey strangers, my name is Gabrielle and welcome back to my channel where I make weekly videos talking about freelancing, young adulting, surviving college, and personal development. This week's video is going to be all about young adulting. Specifically, we're going to discuss government IDs. So let's first start by defining who is considered a young adult or an adult here in the Philippines. So basta 18 years old ka na or older, by law here in the Philippines, you're already considered an adult. What does that mean? Ibig sabihin, you are already fully capable of deciding for yourself or on your own, meaning unless you have health concerns, disabilities, or ailments, you are already given the social responsibility of enrolling yourself in different government agencies or becoming a functioning member of society. So, bakit mo nga ba kailangan ng government ID? Why apply in the first place? So, government IDs are essential for those of you who want to open a bank account. So, all banks here in the Philippines require some sort of verification so that they will open you either a debit account or a savings account or a checking account. You also need it for your e-wallets. So, kung gumagamit ka ng GCash, gumagamit ka ng PayMaya, gumagamit ka ng Grab, and etc., yung mga yon, they need another form of valid identification para ma-verify yung account mo and ma-utilize mo lahat ng benefits. And basically, if you want to apply for a job, whether it be online or kahit saan dito sa Pilipinas, you need some form of valid identification. So, all in all, you just need government IDs for any process that requires some form of identification. So, that's why important siya as soon as now, kahit student ka pa lang, na maka-apply ka na sa mga IDs na madali lang naman makuha. And that's what we will be covering today in this video. I will be sharing 4 of the easiest IDs that you can apply for even though student ka pa lang. So this is strictly in the perspective of a student. So kahit wala ka pang trabaho, kahit wala ka pang any source of income, these are IDs that you can definitely apply for. So the way that I will be structuring this video is I will be dividing each ID into 3 parts and you will see it on the timestamps below. Naka-divide na yan per part. Pero basically, I will be talking about first, what the ID is for, ano yung purpose ng ID, saan ba siya ginagamit. Second, tips for applying sa ID na yun, ano ba yung mga kailangan mong tandaan, and other things that you need to take into account when applying. And then third is yung application process itself. I will be walking you through the application process and showing you the ins and outs or ano yung mga kailangan mong gawin. So again, those will be in the timestamps below and you can just skip to those points whichever is convenient for you. So let's start. The first ID that I want to talk about is the PhilHealth ID. So a lot of you may have already heard about PhilHealth. So what is PhilHealth? So PhilHealth is the social health insurance here in the Philippines. So what does that mean? Ibig sabihin, lahat ng Pinoy na nandito sa Pilipinas, whether employed ka or unemployed or dependent ka lang ng taong employed, ay covered ng PhilHealth through the Universal Healthcare Law. I will be linking resources down on the description below kung gusto nyo pa magbasa kung ano ibig sabihin nun, ano yung information sa Universal Healthcare Law. Pero basically, as a summary nung laman nun, meron tayong certain benefits na nakukuha as citizens here in the Philippines. Kasi yun yung concept ng health insurance. Pag nagkasakit ka or may nangyari sa'yo na kailangan mong pumunta sa hospital, meron kang coverage or may mga bagay na hindi mo na kailangan bayaran dahil insured ka sa PhilHealth. So, yun yung purpose ng PhilHealth. And sa application process for PhilHealth, 3 lang yung i-cover ko. So, the application process for a member of the qualified economy, a member for the informal economy, and a qualified dependent. So, ano yung difference ng 3? So, a member of the qualified economy is basically yung mga taong employed dito sa Pilipinas. Because, again, as I've said, everyone here in the Philippines that is working right now or currently employed are required to pay their contributions sa PhilHealth. So, kahit na private sector ka or public sector, basta nagtatrabaho ka dito sa loob ng Pilipinas, required ka mag-contribute sa PhilHealth. So, yun yung panigurado yung mga magulang nyo, mga kamag-anak nyo, everyone that is working here in the Philippines. That also includes mga businesses, dito sa Pilipinas that are registered under DTI. Second naman is yung informal economy. I am part of the informal economy. That means mga freelancers or yung mga kumikita ng pera na hindi direkta nakukuha dito sa Pilipinas. So that includes all people who are selling online, mga digital products, digital services, yung mga fresh graduate pa lang, or the third is yung mga people who are qualified dependents. So this is very applicable to you if both your mom and dad or your parents or your guardians are currently employed here in the Philippines. That means, nagbabayad sila ng PhilHealth. So, kung gusto mo kumuha ng ID sa PhilHealth, easier na mag-apply ka na lang as qualified dependent under your parents and mas may expedite pa yung process of application mo. Pero yun yung tatlong different economies for application sa PhilHealth na i-cover ko sa video na to. Coverage mo with PhilHealth is dependent on ano yung status mo. So, if qualified dependent ka, covered ka by PhilHealth kasi yung parents mo nagbabayad for you. Pero kung katulad ka sa akin na informal economy ka, you need to be doing your voluntary contributions every month so that you will get the insurance or you will enjoy the benefits of the insurance. Otherwise, okay lang. Kung hindi nyo naman habol yung insurance coverage ng PhilHealth, it's okay kasi yung maganda sa PhilHealth, technically wala siyang expiration date. Hindi mo siya kailangan i-renew every year. So, it is a valid ID na permanent. Pwede mo siyang magamit everywhere kasi nandun naman yung address mo, nandun yung affixed signature mo. So, yun yung maganda kay PhilHealth. It is one of the easiest IDs to get. Libre pa siya. Tapos, wala pa siyang immediate na expiration date. Now, my tips for you as someone who wants to apply for PhilHealth is bring multiple copies of your 1x1 picture. So, yun yung difference ni PhilHealth sa ibang IDs na i-discuss ko today. Yung ibang IDs, doon nyo pa iti-take yung picture nyo. Pero si PhilHealth, ikaw na magpro-provide ng 1x1 picture. So, might as well bring multiple copies of your 1x1 picture. And then, si PhilHealth, when you apply for it, same day, makukuha mo na yung ID actually. So, might as well laminate it. Kasi pagdating sa'yo ng PhilHealth ID mo, hindi siya laminated. It's just this piece of paper. So, get it laminated. And before you do, of course, double-check the information on the PhilHealth ID. Kasi, again, there are multiple instances na mali yung spelling ng pangalan mo. And bago mo i-laminate, dapat pirmahan mo muna siya. Okay? Yun yung isa sa nakalimutan ko nung kumuha ko ng PhilHealth. So, you need to affix your signature first on the ID. Double-check the information, and then get it laminated. And another thing is, go or arrive early. Kasi sa PhilHealth, it's a first-come, first-served basis. So, might as well just go early para matapos na lang agad. Now, moving on to the application process, I will be linking again down on the description below the application form for PhilHealth. I will also be flashing it on my screen right now. You need to print 2 accomplished copies of this form. And then, pag nagawa mo na yun, you just need to go to a local branch. So, once you go to your local branch, you just need to submit yung 2 accomplished copies of the registration form. And then, you need to bring an original copy of your Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA na birth certificate and a photocopy of that as well. So, again, another tip, sa lahat ng government IDs, it's usually a trend na just bring multiple photocopies. Talagang, kung ayaw nyo na magpabalik-balik, nalalabas pa kayo, magpapa-photocopy pa kayo ulit, just bring multiple photocopies of your birth certificate. And if you have a school ID, just bring photocopies of your school ID as well. Para hindi na lang ma-delay pa sa pila and sa application process. Bibigay mo na lang yung mga requirements na yun and bibigay mo sa kanila yung 1x1 ID mo. Pipaste nila yon sa ID mo, tapos double check mo na lang lahat ng information, and then voila, tapos ka na. So that's how easy it is to apply for PhilHealth ID. So the next ID that we're going to talk about is the Postal ID. And katulad ni PhilHealth, the Postal ID is one of the easiest IDs to apply for, and everyone and anyone is eligible to apply for the Postal ID here in the Philippines. So, ano nga ba, para saan nga ba yung Postal ID? Ano yung benefits ng Postal ID? Actually, the Postal ID is one of the most secure IDs right now. What do we mean by that? Pag one of the most secure IDs siya, ibig sabihin, it is virtually accepted in any application that you would need a valid ID. Ibig sabihin nun, kung kailangan mo ng valid ID, more likely than not, tinatanggap yung Postal ID. Kasi mataas na ang level of security ng Postal ID ngayon. Dati, it was just a piece of paper. But right now, it is a PVC identification card, sort of similar to an ATM card, na nandoon lahat ng information na kailangan mo. Maraming benefits ang Postal ID card. Actually, marami silang mga partner na establishments. So, when you present your Postal ID sa ibang mga restaurant, you'd get a freebie or a free upgrade of certain beverages or meals. And I will just be linking down the complete list of partners ng Postal ID on the description below. So, yun yung maganda sa kanya. The only downside with the Postal ID is, first, may bayad siya. And then second, it has a validity date of only 3 years. So kailangan mo siya i-renew every 3 years. So yun lang yung medyo downside as a student. Basta may bayad, medyo mahirap siya. Pero again, if kailangan mo ng madaling ID, ito yung pwede mong applyan. I highly suggest na gamitin or mag-pay na lang kayo ng extra money for the expedited na processing version. Kasi ang regular na processing ng Postal ID is worth 504 pesos. And then the expedited is 650. So, ang 504 pesos can last anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks bago mo makuha yung ID. Whereas, the 650 pesos na expedited na processing is same day. So, you would get the ID the same day that you process it. So, yun. Kung kailangan nyo talaga ng ID agad, my tip is pay up na lang for the expedited processing. Another tip for you when you are applying for the Postal ID is please wear something nice kasi your picture will be taken there sa postal office mismo. And again, that will be your face for the next 3 years. So, might as well wear something nice so when you get your picture taken, hindi nakakahiya pag pinakita mo yung ID mo. So, now for the application process. So, again, like the PhilHealth ID, meron na namang registration form na kailangan i-accomplish para sa Postal ID. And then, I will be flashing it on my screen right now. And you need 2 copies of this application form as well. And much better na i-download nyo na lang siya and i-accomplish sa bahay nyo. Pero kung hindi, you can also go to the branch itself and just obtain a copy of the registration form there mismo. So, yun. Walking you through the application process. Punta kayo sa pinakamalapit na branch sa inyo. And then, once you go there, you need to submit all the requirements necessary. So, what are the requirements you need? So, you need 2 copies of the accomplished membership form. And then, you would need an original PSA birth certificate and photocopy. Again, tip ko na lang, magdala na lang kayo ng maraming photocopy ng birth certificate nyo kasi much better kaysa makulangan pa kayo. And then, after nyo dalhin yung requirements nyo, do-double check lang yun ng clerk or kung sino man na mag-a-assist sa inyo doon. And then, you will just need to choose kung ano yung processing type nyo, kung expedited or yung regular nga lang. And then, you will pay the fee. So, pag tapos nyo magbayad, you will go through the biometrics. So, kukunin yung fingerprints nyo. And then, you will take your picture. And then, pag tapos nyo na mag-take ng picture, tapos na yun. So, if nagbayad kayo ng 650, makukuha nyo na siya, hintayin nyo na lang. Pero, if yung 504, they will give you the estimated date kung when ka babalik. Or they will just send you a text message na bumalik ka na and kunin mo na yung ID. So, yun. That's it for the Postal ID. The third ID that we're going to talk about is passport. So, you probably already know what a passport is or what a passport is for. But if you don't, if you are a resident here in the Philippines and you want to go outside of the country kahit saan pa yan, basta sa labas ng Pilipinas, for whatever reason, whether it be for leisure, like magbabakasyon ka, or for studying, mag-aaral ka sa labas, or for working, you would need a passport to exit the Philippines. Yun yung purpose ng passport. And then, the good thing about the passport as an ID is, it is considered one of the strongest or most secure IDs here in the Philippines. So that has its good sides and its bad sides. I will talk more about that later, pero it's one of the most secure IDs here in the Philippines. So kahit saan tanggap ang passport. So pag pinakita mo yung ID mo na passport, tanggap na yon ng establishment kung saan ka man pupunta. Mag-apply ka for a job, kailangan ng identification, tanggap ang passport. So that's the good side about the passport. And because of the recent law signed by Duterte, the validity of the passport has now been extended from 5 years to 10 years. So every 10 years ka na lang magre-renew ng passport. So that's the good thing about the passport as an ID. Okay, so tips and tricks for those of you na gusto mag-apply sa passport. So again, here is like the downside of applying for a passport. Very strict sila with the documents that you are going to submit. So if there is any form of inconsistency with the documents that you submit, your passport application will be rejected. Another thing is, personally na-experience ko to, nagka-problema ako sa birth certificate ko because may nabura na konti sa birth certificate ko with my place of birth. So you need to check then yung birth certificate nyo kung kumpleto ba lahat ng details, kasi because of that, I needed to secure a local birth certificate from the municipality or the city where I was born. So, additional requirements siya para doon sa application ko. Another tip is, the same with the Postal ID, please wear something nice. Huwag kayong gagaya sa akin. Wear something nice. Huwag kayong mag-take ng passport picture nyo with your uniform na galing kayo sa school. Because that will be your face for the next 10 years. So, that will be how you look like in your passport whenever you're going, crossing borders, crossing different na mga immigration officers. Yun yung mukha na ipapakita mo. Please wear something nice. Prepare like good clothes when going to the DF or the Department of Foreign Affairs or any satellite where you plan to apply for your passport. And another tip is, in order to apply for the passport is you need to have a Gmail or a Yahoo Mail. Any other email will not work. So, hindi mag-work yung Outlook, hindi mag-work yung Hotmail, any other mail is not capable of receiving the message of the Department of Foreign Affairs or the DFA. Just keep that in mind when you're trying to secure documents from the DFA. And again, eto na naman yung medyo downside ng passport for students like me. May bayad siya, guys. So, if you're looking for a free ID, sorry, this is not it. May two options ka na naman. Same with the Postal ID. Merong expedited na fee or meron yung regular lang na fee. So, ang regular na fee is 950. You will expect the passport to be done in 12 working days. And ang expedited version naman is 1,200 pesos. It will be done by 6 working days for those people who are within Metro Manila, and then 7 working days for those outside of Metro Manila. Also, another tip pa pala is, please don't go through any third-party appointment services that are circulating online, because meron kasing mga nagsa-circulate online sa Facebook and other social media platforms that they are offering services to help you book an appointment with DFA. Again, the DFA appointment is completely free. Wala po siyang bayad. Ang may bayad is yung processing ng passport itself. Pero the appointment itself, walang bayad. So, marami na akong kilalang na scam sa mga appointment na yan. So, might as well avoid any third-party appointment service or fixers. Just book through the official DFA website, which again, I will be linking down on the description below. Now, I will walk you through sa application process. So, I will be flashing a screen record of the DFA website again on the screen right now. So first, you need to book your appointment online. Here sa website na yan, makikita nyo ngayon. I'm showing it on the screen right now. So you will be needing to choose which branch or satellite ng DFA ang pinakamalapit sa inyo. And dyan kayo magbubook ng ano nyo. Dyan kayo magbubook ng appointment nyo. And then, pagpunta nyo sa next page, makikita nyo na dyan na may mga available na dates. And dyan kayo pipili kung what date and what time kayo pupunta, kung ano mas convenient and available para sa inyo. Pagtapos nyo mag-book ng time and appointment nyo, mapupunta naman kayo sa page na to kung saan you will be filling up your personal information. So yan, pag na-accomplish nyo na lahat yan, you just press next. And then, bibigay ka pa ng additional information ng family members mo, like your mom and your dad. And I will just skip pag natapos na kunyari itong form na to. And then, pag nakatapos ka na doon sa personal information na page and then yung family member na information na page, mapupunta ka na dito sa last bit ng application information. Of course, you're gonna choose new applicant and then fill up the rest of the information here. And then, you need to make sure na you put the right type of basis of Philippine citizenship. Kung by birth ka ba naging Filipino, if you're naturalized or whatever. And then, pag na-finish mo na lahat ng information na to, you'll be taken to this page, and then you just need to fill up your address, kung saan ka nakatira, and just press next, and then you'll be taken to a review of all the information that you put. Just need to check that one last time, go through it, make sure na tama lahat. Again, hindi pwedeng may inconsistencies. Finally, you'll be taken to this page, which is yung payment method mo. So, pili ka lang kung over-the-counter ba, or credit or debit card, whichever is most convenient to you para bayaran yung processing fee ng passport mo. So, for the sake of this example, I will be choosing the over-the-counter one, and ito yung magiging itsura ng page for you to pay. So, once you finally arrive to this page kung saan magbabayad na kayo, you'll be able to just proceed and finish your application process for your passport. You just need to go to the DFA satellite, DFA office, or DFA branch that you chose to book an appointment to, and you will bring all these requirements on that day. So, please make sure to be there early kasi even though you have a scheduled appointment on that day, it is first come and first serve basis. So, you submit your requirements to the person or the clerk that is there that will double check all your documents. And aside from the accomplished form and the printables that you will get from the DFA, you need an original PSA birth certificate alongside with a photocopy. And then, ang kinaiba ni passport with the two other previously mentioned IDs is kailangan pa ng supporting valid ID ni passport. So, school ID would suffice. Okay na yung school ID. So, magdadala ka lang ng school ID and then photocopy ng school ID na yon. Kailangan mo pa ng additional ID for applying for a passport. Kasi nga, again, it's one of the most secure IDs out there. And again, pag there comes a time na magkaka-opportunity ka to go outside of the Philippines, this would lessen the burden of processing the documents. You will be going through the biometrics, kukunan ng fingerprints, and then you will be having your picture taken. So after nun, tapos naman, okay na yung passport mo. Pag natapos ka na sa application, at the very end, sasabihin sa'yo nung clerk kung kailan ka babalik, what specific date ka babalik to pick up your passport. Otherwise, they would also send you an email or a message to pick up your passport. Now, the last ID that we're going to cover is a new ID. It's the national ID or the Philippine System ID. What is the national ID for? So to those of you who don't know, ang national ID is the movement of the government to try and centralize all the identification processes using this ID. Kasi nakalagay lahat ng vital information sa ID mo na national ID. Nandyan yung blood type mo, nandyan yung address mo, nandyan yung phone number mo, etc. and etc. So it is an ID that has all your relevant information, and the government is trying to aim that it will be the ID that fits every bill. So yun na yung ID na gagamitin mo sa lahat. So yun yung maganda sa national ID. And then, another thing is, it's free. Again, yun yung masaya sa national ID. It's completely free and you just need to go through the application process. So, tips for the national ID before ka mag-apply. So, walk-ins are strictly prohibited. So, hindi pwede ang walk-ins. Only appointment basis lang talaga siya. And then, it's completely free. So, again, avoid any third party that's trying to help you apply for the national ID. Walang bayad ang national ID, may it be processing and etc. It's completely free. Again, another tip is you need to wear something nice because you will be having your photo taken for the national ID as well. Let me try and teach you how to apply for the national ID. So again, I will be flashing it on the screen right now. First thing that you need to do is you need to go to their website right here. And you need to type in your email address kung saan yung gusto ma-receive yung OTP. Tapos yan, yung CAPTCHA, you just need to accomplish it. So next is, pag nakuha mo na yung OTP mo and nakapasok ka na sa system ng national ID, you just need to fill up all these information and you need to accomplish the form. So once you finish the form, mapupunta ka naman sa tab na to wherein pipili ka lang ng pinakamalapit na satellite place for you. And then, mapupunta ka naman dito sa book appointment date and time na page wherein pipili ka na lang kung saang slot or saang specific date mo gusto mag-book ng appointment para makapunta ka na and makaregister ka na for your national ID. And that's about it. Pagdating mo doon sa branch na pinili mo for your national ID, you just need to bring all the additional requirements necessary. Again, just bring your birth certificate, your PSA birth certificate original, and then photocopy. And might as well bring another valid ID like your school ID with you. And you will go through the exact same process as with the other IDs. You will be submitting the requirements, and then you will go through the biometrics, and then you will be taking a picture. And that's basically it. Those are all the easiest IDs that you can apply for as a student here in the Philippines. Again, lahat ng sinabi ko sa video na to are based on my own research and my own experience when applying for these IDs. So, I will be linking them all down on the description down below kung gusto nyo mag-apply. And ililink ko rin down on the description yung mga registration form ng kada ID. That's going to be it for this week's video. So, again, apply na kayo para sa government ID nyo para masimulan nyo na yung freelancing career na gusto nyong ma-achieve para yumaman ka na. Charot. So next week, I'll be making a video about surviving college. So expect something related to online classes. So yeah, don't be a stranger. You know, if this video helped you in any way, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
You breathing in